In the June 18 City Council meeting, there were some controversial statements that Alder Maria Haddon, who is a proclaimed gay individual, negatively stirred negative emotions when certain statements were made in unison of this prestige day referenced by Juneteenth, that slaves and or the descendants of slaves take this day sincere to heart and not to be confused with the celebration of Gay Pride Month. Juneteenth, holiday observed annually on June 19th, commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. A combination of the words June and 19th, the holiday, also called Freedom Day, has been celebrated since 1866 and is considered to be one of the oldest continuing African American, Black, or Negro is just a few names referenced, holidays. It has no ties to pride or its purpose of celebration. If this post resonates with you, click that like button and share amongst others. Now let's get started.
Chair recognizes Alderwoman Haddon.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too rise to be associated with this resolution, and thank you to everybody in the box. Thank you for your work, your service to our community, not just the LGBTQ community, but of course all of Chicago. It was really a highlight. June's become my favorite month. So January is my birthday, so by default, January has just kind of been a good month for me. And since taking this job, January is a little slower. Fewer constituent requests. We're coming off the holidays, so I've fallen more in love with the month of January. But June, over these last couple of years, as someone who is Black and gay, June, you just can't beat it. Black and gay, right? Black and gay.
This is where the offense began amongst the Black guest and amongst others watching.
Celebrating Pride, celebrating Juneteenth, the beginning of summer, the solstice, graduation, Father's Day. We had a great festival in the neighborhood over Father's Day weekend. There's so much to celebrate in June. I appreciate our city, our efforts, your organizations, and the opportunity that we have. And I know we've got a long day. We started late, y'all. We got resolutions, we had 6 acknowledgements, all very worthwhile. And I know we're probably digging in a little bit for some Rule 41s and debates and conversations. But I'll say that I am very honored to serve the 49th Ward and to serve in a city council where we honor Pride Month, where we honor the contributions of our LGBTQ community, where we fight and stand up for our LGBTQ plus residents, and where we get to celebrate that in the same day and the same week that we celebrate Juneteenth, where we raised our...
This is absolutely not the consensus of many God-fearing people, knowing what is stated for believers.
Raised our Juneteenth flag on Monday.
I would ask those in the chamber to remain quiet, please.
If you feel disrespected, then you should maybe question why that is.
Several people took offense to this statement and behavior that Brandon Johnson, the perpetrator of a Black people supporter, allowed.
We good? All right. Where on Monday, we got to raise our Juneteenth flag up next to our Pride flag, up next to our Chicago flag, up next to our county flag.
So many flags of delusion and confusion, as actually demonstrated under this mayoral administration with the worst approval rating in history.
We live in a nation where every day what we see on the news and what we might experience in talking to family members is one that seems to be ripping itself apart, where people with hate in their heart are getting all the attention. I'm so tired of hateful people getting all the attention, guys.
Last checked, Maria is an independent progressive politician, and most of the activity shown in the media demonstrates who Maria is referencing.
Because that's not the majority of Chicago. The Chicagoans I know, the neighborhoods I've had the opportunity to work in, from Rogers Park to Hegwish to Sleepy Hollow to South Shore, Portage Park, Jeff Park, Albany Park, Lakeview, Lincoln Square, South Shore. I've found friends in every single neighborhood in this city. People who love our city, they love their neighbor, they stand up for one another. So the folks in the box today, and I promise I'm just going to speak once. I'm just going to speak
Good,
once.
you're fine.
We'll make this Juneteenth and Pride all in one. But Juneteenth and Pride all in one, embodied in the representation of intersectional identities. I am interested at the reaction this is getting.
The reaction is coming from ignorance of the meaning of Juneteenth.
But yeah, Chicago's such a wonderful city. We will keep each other together. We will keep our city together. We will be united. And I think that's the theme, right? The theme for the Pride March this year. It was the theme for our Father's Day Artists of the Wall Festival at Loyola Park this year. It was all together now. And I think that as we face division,
causes division by the head.
As we stare down hatred, bigotry, people moved by their hatred and bigotry to the point of assassination.
They have been identified and narrowed to a particular group which this mayor supports.
Of assassinating political leaders who are standing up for our rights. People who can't figure out how to act within the really generous confines of our democracy.
These statements were allowed and continued on purpose to stir up the attendees within this meeting, and a few live chats were restricted from providing comments of the local left party channels.
So to clarify, this is a
Second, hold on.
Pride Month.
Hold on a second, please. If those of you who continue to outburst, I would ask the Sergeant at Arms to remove you.
The black mayor with false black support does not stand with the black citizens of Chicago.
Mr. Sergeant at Arms,
however, he is
remove
the
this
quote
woman?
people person of those from other countries. Proof of concept when he is begging to be reelected.
Just want to remind the folks who are visiting us today in chambers, we appreciate your public participation. However, the outbursts are not only provocative, but they are disruptive, and it doesn't speak to our sensibility as a body of government. So if you cannot respect the general rules and ideas that are being expressed, would either ask that you remove yourself or I will ask that you be removed.
The citizens' outbursts are provocative. He ignored
Chair
all what
recognizes
provoked these outbursts.
Alderwoman Haddon.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
As I was saying, all together now, we don't all have the same experiences, and we don't all agree with the same things, but we live in a fantastic city. We're fortunate, we're blessed. We're honored to live here, whether we were born here, whether we moved here, whether
like
we
Ohio,
immigrated here. This is a fantastic city and it's ours to keep. So it is my honor and a joy to be able to live in a city where my multiple identities, I'm Black every day, and I'm gay every day, and I'm a woman every day. Every day I wake up, even on council days. It's one of the things that I hear from constituents in the 49th Ward and around the city about why it's so important to have our representation. For those who may have been confused, there's a whole resolution for Juneteenth. It should have its own day, and it should have its own moment.
This is what the concerned Black citizens of Chicago were simply stating. But that was not Maria's intention by making those comments to merge them together. They have very different meanings, and that day is not to be minimized or dumbed down with the level of disrespect Maria found amusing. Let's continue with those who stand for anything, but proclaims very clearly to be pastor's daughter.
Chair recognizes Alderwoman Stephanie Coleman.
Mr. President, I could not be remiss in supporting this resolution and then welcoming and seeing 16th Ward's own Ms. Tara Campbell, who's the newest board member of the Pride Committee. And then also want to bring forth the Chicago Urban Pride Picnic in the 5th Ward in celebrating our people and the culture. So God bless you all. Thank you so much and happy Pride.
All my blood's off the car for a reason.
Daughter of 2 pastors.
I know pastors' children, and they
of the church.
Out of the horse's mouth. Let that speak for itself where she truly stands. Church product.
I ask that you spend some time downstairs, reading the legacy wall and learning about the beauty, the strength, grit, and devotion of the LGBTQ plus community. I ask that you spend time truly, colleagues, embracing the value and the impact of the LGBTQ plus history and how it has made Chicago better, safer.
Chicago better?
And how you can contribute to their work by serving the LGBTQ plus community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and happy Pride.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor Salvo, Robert Castillo, Joshua Marburger, Laura Austin, Devin Hanley, Steve Long, Ron Thomas, and all of the members that are in the box today. You know, this entire body speaks in a united voice, not just for a resolution, but for a people. Chicago has a proud and vibrant LGBTQ plus community who have made indelible contributions in every corner of our city. Their influences can be felt around the city. They're recognized through North Halsted Legacy Walk, the AIDS Garden, Chicago, the Progress Flag and Daly Plaza, and the Belmont and Andersonville communities, just to name a couple. Every June, we come together to celebrate the story, the history, and the resilience of the LGBTQ plus community. Pride Month has been articulated already, born out of resistance, traced to the Stonewall riots of 1969, where the community fought back during a late-night raid at the now historic Stonewall Inn. A year later, hundreds of LGBTQ plus people and allies gathered to march in New York, Los Angeles, and right here in Chicago. Today, Pride welcomes thousands of residents, visitors from various communities, and advocacy groups who continue to support the ongoing fight for not just recognition, but for the right to continue to show up in your most authentic self. And while there are many great strides that we have made in the LGBTQ plus community, we know that there is still much work to be done. We have to continue to fight for equal rights, for safety, marriage rights, and accessible gender-affirming healthcare. Please know that my administration and I are proud to be strong allies, allies of people. LGBTQ plus community have a right to feel safe and secure and welcome in Chicago. And even as we deal with raids today, Chicago is a very powerful place of resistance, and we owe a lot of that to the LGBTQ plus community. Happy Pride Month. Alderman Mitchell. Can I get a motion to approve this resolution? What?
Mr. President, I move passage in the omnibus.
Hearing no objections, so ordered. Happy Pride Month.
Many have their Christian beliefs and do not want to be infringed upon. Now to conclude, here is a testament of how one of their own, who was not supported by the administration he works for, Brandon Johnson, but support all other cause of matters.
You need a minute, Alderman Gardner. You have a minute, sir.
I've worked in the parks
I've worked in schools. I've been a coach. I've been a mentor to hundreds of people in this city, on the north and the south side and the west side of Chicago. I've worked as a firefighter. I've worked as an alderman. I've done my very best to serve the people of this city. Very difficult for me to talk about what has happened within the last 4 years, and I can't put it into words. But in 2023, after I won re-election to represent the people of the 45th Ward, I was accused of violating 10 ethics codes, something that I would never do. I was fined $2,000 for each violation, for a maximum fine of $20,000. I couldn't believe what I heard. I couldn't believe what I read. After 24 years of serving this city, I was accused of gross malpractice. I was devastated. I was depressed. It shook me to my core, and only because of my faith in the love of my wife. I was able to fight. So I picked myself up off the ground, started to reach out to some lawyers and ask for some legal advice. Because as a kid who grew up in the city of Chicago, in a blue-collar family, you don't know your rights. So I reached out to some lawyers, and all of them said, just pay the fee, move on. Can't fight the system, can't fight the city. When they got you, they got you. Even if it ain't true. I found one lawyer, Steve Ledizinski, who was crazy enough to take it on and say, hey man, this is wrong. This is wrong in so many different ways. These allegations are totally bogus. And so we fought it. We went to war with the city. And I mentioned war because the city hired some guns to come after me, outside law firm, big, well-respected law firm. And they didn't just get some kid out of college. They got a partner of a law firm come after me and shove this down my throat. Said, we're going to shove this down your throat, whether you like it or not, whether you did it or not. That's pretty intimidating. It's very intimidating. But they were nice enough to say, if you take a plea and you pay only a portion of this fine and admit to your faults, you can move on. What would you do? Would you risk 10 times that amount in legal fees and then also have the $20,000 fine staring you down to pay at well over $100,000? Would you sell yourself out? What price can you put on your reputation? What price? I'm the son of Margaret and Joseph Gardner. They taught us to serve others and respect others. That's exactly what I've done for 24 years. But don't trust my words. Bill Conlon, the chair of the Board of Ethics, I handed it out to you, all of you today, as many as I possibly could. Please read his words in here. Please read his findings. And I know a lot of us, some of us are lawyers, so you'll understand it. It'll be easy for you to understand. Some of you, some like myself, we're not. We're street kids, right? We grew up in the city of Chicago. We're tough kids, but sometimes we're not educated as far as legal words are concerned. And I had a hard time even understanding this. I'm a street kid. But it says the investigative body's failure or refusal to disclose all exculpatory material in its possession from the investigation? For those of us who are not lawyers, do we know what exculpatory evidence is? Exculpatory evidence is something that tends to be beneficial to the defendant. Something that could maybe rule in their favor to say, hey, he or she is not guilty of something. Failure or refusal to disclose exculpatory material? I'm having a hard time understanding that. I'm having a hard time how, because at the core, as you guys know, of any investigative body, and correct me if I'm wrong, is transparency and accountability, right? We say that a lot. We said it a lot today, I heard, right? So if you have information, exculpatory evidence, it's your duty, your basic duty, to share that information. If that body cannot live up to its most basic principles, how in God's green earth can we come down here and ask to give her or her department more unchecked power? Again, I'm just a street kid. I don't have you guys have all the degrees. You guys are very smart, educated people. I'm just learning on the fly as I go. But luckily, Margaret and Joseph Gardner raised a kid that was just tough enough, gritty enough to stand up. And thank be to God, I came across Steve Ladizinski as well. And we took on the city. We took on the gorilla, if you will, the undefeated gorilla, right? That you can't beat the city. You can't take them on. We did. And out of 10 violations, not a single one stood? That's 0 for 10. I'm not a great baseball player, but that's 0.0000. That's horrible. Not one? Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. I mean, we are just going to blindly give away more power, if you will, or more leverage to do whatever it is that you want to do, and you can't prove to us that you can't fulfill your most basic principles? What? I mean, this alone, if you guys have not taken the time, don't trust my words. Bill Conlon, he is the head of the Board of Ethics, well-respected attorney in this city for decades. Please read it. I highlighted it for you guys. I made it real simple. There's a footnote. It's footnote number 4, page 3. Please, please, please read it. And I will leave with this. The people of the 45th Ward elected me to represent my community. I have done that from the day that I have been elected to do so in 2019. I have never, nor would I, violate the trust that the people of the 45th Ward have given me to represent my community. And anybody who says otherwise, you should seriously reconsider their validity. Thank you for your time, Mayor.
These were just some of the topics which occurred as Johnson lost his cool when he was called out by an alderman.
Okay. Alderman O'Shea is a yes. Alderman Conway, okay, not here. All right, the voting is now closed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. There are 49 yeas, 0 nays. This motion passes. Alderman Mitchell on a motion to reconsider.
Motion to reconsider the vote.
All those in favor of the reconsideration of this vote signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say no. This motion fails. Chair recognizes Alderman Riley.
Mr. President, I wanted a point of clarification as the clerk was reading into the record introductions by the administration. It's my understanding that one such ordinance was not properly read into the record to identify the subject matter. I believe it was the third item that would have allowed members of this body to send it to a different committee. I understand that's the grocery tax that your administration is considering on foisting upon the people of Chicago. But we didn't get that read into the record as such. And had we been given the opportunity, I would have called a different committee. The clerk is supposed to clearly read the ordinance into the record, and that was glossed over. It's supposed to be a descriptive title read into the record. It's a major substantive piece of legislation.
The item was read into the record as an amended item for revenue for Title III. It was read into the record correctly.
It was not read into the record properly. No one here would know what that means unless there's a title, unless it's included in the title, what the actual subject matter is.
Okay.
So, I mean, that was a cute trick by the law department.
Okay, listen, first of all, let's not make any considerations of what anyone's intentions were. In fact, this
Why not
item
vote a
in
grocery
particular
tax, Mr. President? I mean, that's what it is. Why isn't it read into the record that
was
way?
read into the record correctly. If you have an issue with the content or the context, that sounds deeply personal. But it was read correctly,
Deeply
and
personal.
this is
I don't know what that
about
means,
an
Mr. President,
amendment
but I would have referred this to the Rules Committee where it should be.
well, what you would have done or could have done, you had an
So
opportunity
if you
to
hadn't
do that.
violated the rules, Mr. President,
All
we
right.
would have had this done
Thank
properly.
you very much. The chair recognizes Alderwoman Dow.
Dismissal is how he handles faults. But the alderman comes back to this matter to call out the facts.
The key principle of the OMA is transparency and the public's right to be informed about the business of public bodies. And here's why relying solely on a title number is problematic. Insufficient notice. It doesn't provide enough information for the public to understand what the proposed legislation is about. Lack of public knowledge. The public may not be familiar with the numbering system or have access to information linking title numbers to the specific content of the legislation. Agenda content requirements. The OMA requires that the meeting agenda set forth the general subject matter of any resolution or ordinance that will be the subject of final action at the meeting. This implies a more detailed description than a simple title number. The intent of the act. The intent of the OMA is to ensure that actions and deliberations of public bodies are conducted openly and that citizens are given advance notice of what will be discussed or acted upon. Providing only a title number hinders this purpose. Therefore, to satisfy the OMA, it's necessary to provide a description that gives the public a clear understanding of the general subject matter of the introduced legislation. This could include a brief summary of the proposed legislation's purpose and key provisions. And I know that members of your legislative team are very familiar with the OMA. I've discussed it with one member over the last 18 years. So it's my hope that he will share this with you, and perhaps we can revisit the way that that item was introduced to this body without any discussion of the actual subject matter that it contains. It's about transparency, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Riley. The chair recognizes Chairman Irvin.
Brandon Johnson has bad vibes from all walks of life. As you see him in the news, he stands 10 toes down regardless of his errors for the heavy pride that consumes him. He will learn. Teacher, you are enrolled as a student in the School of Hard Knocks.